Is in this week's parsha, we all know famously Yaakov Avinu lies down to rest, and he takes the stones and he places the stones around his head. V'yikach me'avnei hamakayim v'yasem me'rash Esav, and he places the stones around his head. And Rashi says, the famous medrash that we all know, that he made the stones around his head. Why? Because he was afraid of wild animals. He was afraid that something would harm him, so he surrounded himself with stones. And then what happens? The stones start fighting with each other. Each one wants their head, wants themselves to be under the head of the tzaddik. What's a fascinating thing to think about, the stones clearly knew what was going on. And they all knew he was Yaakov Avinu, and they all knew that they wanted to serve the tzaddik. Yet, somehow, the animals, we are nervous, we're going to harm Yaakov Avinu. How is it possible that the stones were going to help Yaakov and the animals were going to harm him? It's a little bit of maybe a funny question because we don't necessarily think in, stone or animal thoughts. But we all know that an animal is seemingly a higher level of creation than a stone. So why would it be, asks Rav Dessler, that he was nervous about the animals, but yet the stones were serving him? And Rav Dessler explains that the stones are representative, the lowest level, then the animals are a little bit higher, and then human beings are higher. That we all know. We all know the concepts. That you have daimim, and then you have tzemeach, then you have midaber, you have inanimate objects, and then you have objects that grow, objects that move, and then you have people that speak. And says Rav Dessler, we can really take it one step deeper. You have animals, you have rocks, A rock is representative of a simple person. What is an animal representative of? A more learned person, a more chashiv person. And then you have, of course, Yaakov Avinu the tzaddik. Says Rav Dessler, even though you would think which one could understand the tzaddik better, the simple person or the more learned person, the rock or the animal, we would all think, of course, the more learned person could understand what a Yaakov Avinu is all about. But says Rav Dessler, no, sometimes it's the simple people, the simple rocks, they are the ones that could fully appreciate a tzaddik, their simplicity, their ease of life. They are the ones that are going to be able to understand the tzaddik. And that's why the rocks, these simple people, they're sitting there fighting to serve the tzaddik. And yet, the animals, which are representative of a higher level person, they are not. So, what's the lesson that I just wanted to bring out as we begin? Sometimes we feel we're the simple people. Are we really worth anything? Learning a little bit halacha, maybe learning something that some people might think is very basic. And we feel simple people. There are more learned people. But the answer is sometimes it's the simple people that, first of all, but even before Rav Dessler, the simple people are those in reality that are doing that much more because it's that much more difficult. But even more than that is that the simple people are those that are serving the tzaddik. They understand on a very real level what it means. And I think that's the limud, as the Brisker Rav used to famously say, what did I do for Klal Yisrael today? I wasn't the Brisker Rav. He was also. But he said, I got up and I put on my right shoe first, and then I put on my left shoe. I tied my left shoe and then I tied my right shoe. And then when I put on my jacket, I put in the right arm first and then the left arm. Simple diktuk in halacha, simple living a life in halacha, sometimes those are the greatest acts. So even though maybe we feel like the simple rock, like a simple person, realize, number one, we're the ones that actually will serve the tzaddik, understand what's going on. And number two, that in reality, we're not simple at all. And with that,